Hello again, creative crafters. I have two wonderful crafts for us to do today, and they have to do with faith and with our weekly story from the gospel. Now, today's story happens to be about healing and how Jesus healed people. Jesus healed a lot of people. Often, all they had to do was believe. And in fact, all they had to do was reach out and touch and hope for the best from Jesus, and he did all the work for them. Well, that's what we want to focus on too, that God can do anything. It doesn't always mean that he'll fix every single problem that comes our way, but we can trust that he has the best for us, and that one day there will be healing for everyone. Maybe not on earth, but eventually at the resurrection. Well, anyways, our two crafts are focused on that. One of them has to do with this idea of healing and how Jesus heals our hearts. The other one has to do with the story specifically. So there are kind of two stories in this particular passage of the gospel that involve healing. One of them is the woman who touched his robe and was healed. The other is the healing of Jairus' daughter. So we're going to look at that one and make a fun little puppet to go along with it. So our first craft, in fact, will be that specific story, that the daughter of this man was healed and she had actually fallen asleep. She had died, and Jesus brought her back to life. So we're going to make a puppet that reminds us of that story, and we're going to use a paper bag, and this is a pretty simple one. So we're going to have a paper bag puppet that looks asleep and then can open her eyes to be awake. So we're going to celebrate the story in that way. Now, if you'd like to, you can also make her some little clothes to go along with it. So let's say we're going to dress this puppet up a little bit. So we're going to make her a little dress, and on the dress we're going to write kind of a little caption to remind us of what this story is all about. So we're going to say, "Wake up, little girl," because that's what Jesus told her. And then at the bottom, we'll give a little reference. Jesus raises Jairus' daughter. So that just reminds us why we have this random puppet with eyes open and closed. Now, you could also do that straight onto the paper bag, of course. This just kind of gives you an extra element, an extra layer of creativity, an extra time muncher if you are needing to take up a little extra time with your Sunday school class. And we're going to cut that out and glue it onto the front of our puppet. If you like, you can decorate your puppet front and back or just on one side. Again, that's up to you and your timing and how you need things to flow and go. And so, speaking of flowing and going, get my glue to get going here. And so we'll have our decoration and caption here on the front side. And then I'm going to do my eyes last. Here I'm going to do a little depiction of this girl's face and maybe give her some hair. And again, if you wanted to get extra creative, you could do yarn hair. You could make that something that's another element. You could do cat hair, be a little more authentic. And maybe I'll give her a little mouth that's kind of just closed. And some sleeping eyes. Here's her little sleeping eyes, because I guess she doesn't have arms, does she? We can fix that. Give her some arms kind of crossed over here. Or maybe, those are not the greatest of arms, but you know. Give her a nose. So here's our sleeping girl. And then we'll fold this up to give her another face. And this is the come back to life face. So we're going to glue on some open eyes here, because now Jesus has raised her from the dead and her eyes are open. And we're going to give her a smiley face because, of course, wouldn't be so happy to be alive. So here's her smiling face. Yay, so happy. So then you're finished with this multi-dimension puppet, and you can retell the story. Hopefully our eyes are relatively dry enough here. And talk about how this girl had died, and her family was so sad, and everyone was so sad. And then Jesus came and brought her back to life. And she was alive again. Might want to wait for the glue to dry on those eyes. So, sad, sleeping, and really dead. Daughter, happy, alive. So, there's our first craft to celebrate our story. Now, our next craft has to do with this element that Jesus heals us. And it's important to remember that sometimes we won't be physically healed in this life, but Jesus will always heal our hearts. And he will always take our sins away. And he always promises us that one day we will be in heaven with him. So that's something we can rejoice in. So we're going to do this. We're just going to make a decoration. And this can be something that hangs or goes on a doorknob or just reminds us of the important features in the story. So we're going to do this on a paper towel tube. Now you could, of course, use something else. You could use a bag, you could use a plate, you could use a cup, you could use a toilet paper tube, whatever. But we just happen to have a handy dandy paper towel tube. And on this, we're going to attach some things that remind us of healing that you might have in this life, things that might go along with physical healing. But we're also going to remember that most importantly, Jesus heals our hearts. So we're going to attach a nice heart to the top of our tube. And we're going to write on this the promise that Jesus heals our hearts. And on our tube, we're also going to remember we're going to remind ourselves to have faith. And we're going to say there are many healings or many types of healing. And sometimes it might be something physical and sometimes it might be otherwise. And then we're going to glue on our fun little items. So we'll have a cotton ball, because a lot of times we use cotton balls when someone is hurt or is sick. And we're going to give ourselves some Band-Aids. Now, a fun way to do this one is to make your Band-Aid a cross. So we're going to stick our Band-Aid on. Pardon me. Here we go. We're going to stick our Band-Aid on in a crisscross shape. At the bottom here, I'll show you in just a moment. And we have sort of a cross Band-Aid there. And if you wanted to even color that or use some sort of a fun neon one, that would be fun too. And then we're going to throw on some stickers, because why not? Stickers are always fun. And you could put on other things here. You could put on Q-tips. You could put on more Band-Aids. You could put on even, like, I don't know if you want to glue on a vitamin. That could get dangerous. But or a label of some sort for a medicine. That could be a little bit safer. But we're going to, after we've got all of our lovely stickers attached and adorned here, put one in the center of my Band-Aid. Now, I'm going to attach my label to the back side here, and stick that in right at the top. And then we have our fun reminder of the faith principles that go along with the story. Now, this again could be something that maybe you hang up if you wanted to attach a pipe cleaner or a string behind this, or maybe you just have it as a fun trophy or a fun stick that you can wave around and remember the story and think of the fact that Jesus always promises to heal our hearts and to take care of us and to give us what we need. So There's your fun, decorative element of the theological principles behind our gospel for today. And here is your fun story recollection for the story element of our gospel today. Again, there are plenty of other wonderful, fantastic crafts and ideas and activities that you can do, as with any passage, but hopefully this gives you some creative spark and ideas that you could potentially use or take and run with and do your own thing with. And that can hopefully be a blessing to you and to your students and whoever it is that you're working with. We have new videos coming out every week with crafts and with message ideas. Again, I hope that it is a blessing to your ministry or to your children or to you as well. And feel free to like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Stay tuned for more. Go make some crafts, make some disciples. Have a wonderful week. See you next time.